Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited because we are going to be talking all about Fenty Beauty. So I'm going to share with you guys the best and the worst of Fenty because I've been testing out a couple of their new products lately and I have some thoughts and some reviews for you guys. So I love Fenty, definitely a top 5 when it comes to high-end brands for me. I love the majority of their products, so I'm going to show you guys some of them in action today. I'm going to talk through the video, but I'm still going to show you guys the products and how they apply and swatches and everything, and I'm gonna do overlays. You'll see everything and how it performs on my skin today. I'm feeling very bold today also with this lip color. I keep looking at myself and I'm like, oh, should I just put on a nude color? I don't know. I'm wearing a lot of nude today and I was like, let me do a little pop of color, like why not? But I think I'm just gonna go with it and whatever. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you grab a snack and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And without further ado, let's get into some Fenty Beauty. Okay, so I'm gonna start in the order in which I would do my makeup, which is always brows first. So first we have the Brow MVP from Fenty. This is their ultra fine brow pencil and styler. It's a good pencil. It gets the job done. I usually use pencils to outline my brows and I don't mind it, but I feel like there's so many good drugstore brow pencils that I honestly don't really ever spend a ton of money on brow products, at least brow pencils specifically, just because I feel like a lot of them do the same thing, but definitely gets the job done. It's just personally like not something that I would repurchase. I guess this is kind of like the trend, having this little brush versus having a spoolie. I personally prefer a spoolie, but you know, I feel like with brows, everybody has their own kind of favorites, and for me, I like a spoolie. This, not so much. So yeah, it's not a bad product. It's not something that I would necessarily go out and repurchase and recommend to you guys because it's not really like extraordinary. Like it's a brow pencil. I feel like brow products are super boring. Next up, we have eye primer. I actually really like their eyeshadow primer. I think it's good. I use it from time to time and I'm a big fan. So this is their Pro Filter Amplifying Eye Primer. I like to just apply this with my finger all over my lid. It's sort of like the Urban Decay primer potion, so it's not going to really conceal any veins or anything. It's really just going to prime your lids. It does have a very kind of oily-ish sort of consistency, so if you have super oily eyelids, I don't think you'll like this. It doesn't dry down completely. You still have a little bit of a tacky finish to it, which I think is great because the shadows stick really well, but it is, again, a little bit on the more oily side, so I think if you have maybe dry lids or normal lids, you will like this. If you have oily, not so much. So it's a nice eye primer. I feel like there's so many eye primers nowadays and a lot of them work really well. This isn't necessarily like a product that I'm like dying over that I think you absolutely need in your life, but if you want to splurge on an eye primer, I think this is good. But if you don't have it, you're not missing out on a ton. You know what I mean? Like it's an eye primer. Eye primer is another one of those like boring makeup things. Next up, we have their new eyeshadow palettes. So I've actually tested out Fenty eyeshadows last year. I did actually a Fenty One Brand tutorial and I tested out, I forget the exact name of it, but I'll put it right here. And I honestly didn't love that palette. I felt like it was kind of average for the price, and I believe the price is reduced from the last time that I saw it online. It's okay. The formula wasn't really like extraordinary. I ended up donating the palette, so I really didn't love it. So then when I saw these, I was really intrigued because I thought they would be maybe better quality. I really liked the color selection that they had. So these are their snap shadows. So basically they are each numbered. So I have an 8 and a 5, and if you put them together, they actually snap into place, which I think is really cool, especially if you want to have like all of them kind of like in your makeup collection or for traveling or whatever the case may be. You kind of have them all like that. So I like the concept. I like the packaging. They're super cute, but there's a but. I don't love these eyeshadows. The formula to me on these is very dry. The mattes definitely work better than the shimmers, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend a palette to you guys just for the mattes. Like if I want to use a palette, I want to love the mattes and the shimmers in it, and unfortunately the shimmers in here are duds. They're definitely pigmented and they show up, but they're very dry. They're not super metallic-y and wet. Even when you spray the brush, I feel like they kind of crumble and they just feel really dry and chalky, which I'm not a fan of. It's a shame though because the palettes look really pretty. They have a lot of different colors and different palettes, but I picked up the peach one and then I wanted to get the pastel one just because I thought maybe it would be like fun to do like a pop of color, but these are so chalky. These are probably like worse than the ones in the peach palette. I don't like the formula of these at all. They just flake, and then once you start kind of adding more product, the products that you had on beforehand, it kind of just starts to fade away and nothing really happens. So at first when I was doing my makeup today, I was actually using the palette and then I ended up just wiping everything off off and just putting on a little bit of bronzer in the crease and some lashes because I was not happy with the way that this look turned out. It's doable, but I feel like for the price, I definitely expected more. And for Fenty, just because their complexion products are so amazing, I thought that these would be a little bit like just like the same quality, but they're not. I don't love Fenty eyeshadows. I feel like complexion is their thing. When it comes to other things, I could definitely live without them, and these I don't like. Another product from Fenty that I actually don't love, the more that I use this and the more that I discovered some really bomb eyeliners, the more that I'm like, this is not good. So this is their Fly liner. It's a long wear liquid liner, and this one's just the black one. I believe they only have one shade, but I actually really like pen liners like this. I feel like they're super easy to work with, especially if you're a beginner trying to do your wings. The reason I don't like this is because when it dries down to a really shiny finish, which I don't like. Whenever I'm doing my eyeliner, I like it to be really matte and black, and this just does not cut it. I mean, hopefully you can see in the swatch and on my eye, but it's definitely shiny, and it's not just because my lights are shining on me right now. It's actually like a shiny formula eyeliner, and I wish it was matte because I actually do like the formula of it as far as like the application goes and the packaging. It's like a really pointy little pen. There's only two liners that I love that don't do that, one from CoverGirl and one from NYX, but for the most part a lot of them do that, drugstore and high-end. So it's really hard to find a matte black, like a true matte black liquid liner these days. So for me, this is another pass. Okay, now we can jump into the skin, which I'm very excited for because I love Fenty's complexion product. This is where I feel like they thrive as far as their brand is complexion. So let's start off with primer. I have their Soft Silk Pro Filter Hydrating Primer. I love this primer. This is so good. This is going to hydrate your skin and it's going to prolong your makeup. If you guys are familiar with the Smashbox Primerizer, this is kind of like that, but I feel like honestly, now that I use this again today, I can definitely say that this is more hydrating than the Smashbox one, and the formula is a little bit thicker. It's not too thick, so it's perfect under makeup, but it definitely feels more of like a thicker kind of gel water-based moisturizer, which I really like. I always say this, but I love when primers feel like skincare products, and this is one of them. I think this is a great, really plumping, hydrating, amazing primer, especially when your skin needs a little bit of a pick-me-up. You always want to use something underneath of your foundation, that way it goes on super smooth. And I think if you have dry, combo, normal skin, you will love this because it's not greasy. It's just really like plumping on the skin. I love it. They also did come out with their True Matte Pro Filter Mattifying Primer. This is a really nice natural mattifying primer. I don't have super oily skin that much anymore, but in the summer I do like to use mattifying things on my T-zone because I do start to get oily with certain foundations. So I like this because it doesn't dry out my skin. It definitely does a good job at absorbing the oil that you have on your face and mattifying without feeling tight and uncomfortable. I think the combo together also works really well with my combo skin. So my T-zone is usually the main oil spot on my face. The rest of my face is pretty normal, I would say. So I usually like to mix a combination of hydrating and matte primers, and that works the best with my skin. Okay, let's get into foundation. So if you guys watch any of my videos, you know that I adore this foundation. This is their Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation, and it is just that. It is so natural, so fresh on the skin. It's kind of like your skin, but 20 times better. It covers up really well, but it feels super lightweight. I love this foundation in the summertime, really like anytime, but especially I think in the summer, because even though it's hydrating, it just makes your skin look super healthy, but you get that really amazing coverage. And I really like the packaging on this more than the original. I feel like it's more practical, and it comes with a pump, which I'm obsessed with. The shade 240 is perfect on me, and it just lasts all day. It looks beautiful, great coverage. It's not too dewy, because some foundations are a little too hydrating and they make you look really greasy, and then it's kind of like, you know, it looks like you just got done working out with a full face of makeup on, but this just gives you that really like light dew without being too much. So I actually applied this on one side of my face to show you guys, and I wanted to also mention that I did use their sponge. I really like the Fenty sponge. I think it's nice. It is super bouncy, and I like this kind of flat edge that it has. Mine is like all stained, but I like the flat edge right here because I think it's really good for cleaning up your contour, or if you want to use some translucent powder under your bronzer, I think that's really good. I also like it for under the eyes. It's a little bit bigger, but it's not too big, so it fits in a lot of areas on your face. So this I really like as well. And then on the other side of my face, face, I did use their Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. I wanted to show you guys them side by side so you can see that the hydrating one is definitely like more hydrating compared to this one. I think the coverage is honestly very similar. The Soft Matte might have a little bit more coverage. It definitely is one of those foundations that you can tell you're wearing makeup. It's not going to be super natural. For me, this is not an everyday foundation. I don't even really wear this foundation that much anymore just because I'm more into like a dewy, like fresh kind of foundation look with my skin. But I think for summer or for going out or for a special occasion, this is a good foundation just because it is very heavy duty coverage. And I also really like the fact that their shades are consistent. So I'm in the shade 240 in this one as well, and it matches really well. So whatever shade you are in one, that's going to be your shade in the other foundation, which I think is great. So yeah, if you're looking for heavy duty coverage, soft matte finish, you have oily skin, I think this will be a good match for you. Okay, next up we have their concealer. So this is their Pro Filter Instant Retouch Concealer. I used the shades 220 and a little bit of 235. These are too dark for me. I definitely need to go down a couple shades, but I still wanted to show you guys that you can see it does have some pretty, I would say, good natural medium coverage. It's not a super full coverage concealer. I don't love this. I definitely love their primers and foundations more than this. It's not a product that I'm necessarily like absolutely obsessed with. It's a nice concealer and it works, but it's definitely not like a holy grail. I definitely have other high-end concealers that I prefer. My favorite high-end concealer is actually from JuicyJas. That one is super creamy and it's a little bit moussey and it has more coverage than this one. That's what I really like. This one, like I said, it's not a bad product and it works. It gets the job done, but it's not like a holy grail, and I would definitely choose their foundations over their concealers any day. They're so much better in my opinion on my skin versus their concealer. I almost forgot to talk about their cream products. So this is their Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Bronzer. Mine is in the shade 03 Macchiato. This is incredible. This formula is so creamy. It melts into the skin. I actually really like it with their 125 face brush. I think this is really great. It looks so natural. This color on me, I love it because it's not muddy. It's not too orange. It has actually a little bit of a cool undertone. So I think it looks really pretty and it kind of just looks very sun-kissed. So this absolutely 10 out of 10 recommend. I actually like this cream bronzer more than their Mocha matchsticks, which I actually do like these as well, but I think that the cream bronzers are a little bit creamier. They just melt into the skin a little bit better than the matchsticks. These are a little bit, I don't want to say harder to work with, but the formula is definitely a little bit more on the dry side. Like it definitely shows up and it's creamy when you like swatch it, but when you're actually blending it into the skin, I think the cream bronzer is much better, and just like just something about it is so good. And then their cream blushes I love. I wanted to shout out the 3 colors that I'm obsessed with. So the one that I have that I love for every day is 02 Petal Poppin'. This is like a really pretty like everyday kind of pinky shade. Don't be scared of cream blushes because sometimes they look really intimidating in the pan, but then when you actually apply it, it's definitely going to come off more natural on your skin versus actually in the pan. So just something to keep in mind. And I also really like the color Strawberry Drip. Surprisingly, it's really bright, kind of matches my lip color today, but this is really pretty. Again, don't be scared of the color in the pan because when you actually apply it, it's really pretty. I feel like the cream blushes could be used on a lot of different skin tones as well, which I like. This could be a universal shade just depending on how little, how much you apply. And then the other one that I really like is in the shade Fuego Flush. This is like a really pretty light shimmery orange tangerine shade, which I think is beautiful. I think this would look really pretty also on tan skin tones. I love this color. It gives you like the lightest flush on the cheeks too, which I think is so pretty. Okay, their powder bronzer is the best bronzer that I have ever put on my face. Like, not even kidding. I love this so much. I'm surprised I haven't hit pan because I go ham when I use this, but this is their Instant Warmth Bronzer, and this one's in the shade Shady Biz. I don't even know what I'm looking at it. This is the best bronzer formula ever. It is so smooth and just like amazing on the cheeks. Gives you the most beautiful wash of color. It's not muddy. No matter how much you put on, it's never gonna look muddy. It's never gonna look bad. It's always gonna look smooth and delicious on the skin. This color in particular, I love on my skin tone because it's perfect. It's not too light, it's not too dark, it's just incredible. So they killed it with this formula. I wish they would come out with powder blushes maybe in the future because I feel like those would be so good. Okay, next up we have their powder. This is their Pro Filter. I have the mini version, but this is their mini instant retouch setting powder. This one's actually in the shade Butter. This is a nice powder. I think this is good. It looks okay in pictures. I remember testing a different color out and it looked much better in pictures versus this one does. I like this powder. I think it is really pretty. It does give you a really natural, soft kind of a look to it. It's definitely, again, not another holy grail product of mine, just being honest with you guys. For me, the Hailey's Beauty Retouch Loose Setting Powder and the collab setting powder are definitely like top tier for me, and they work a little bit better. They give me like a airbrush look, whereas this, it's pretty, it's soft on the skin, but it's not a like must have for me. This is also very matte. It's one of those powders also, if you use too much, your face kind of starts to feel a little bit tight. Like it's definitely a matte powder for me. I don't mind matte powders, but I like when they feel a little bit more natural on my skin, just because I don't have really oily skin. So I think maybe if you do have more oily skin, you will like this. Let me know what your thoughts are if you've tried this powder. I feel like it's like kind of hit or miss for everybody, so let me know. I wanted to also touch on this really quick before I forget. This is their Invisimatte blotting powder. So this I actually really like for touching up in the summer. It's a very like natural powder, so it's not going to add any coverage or anything. It's literally just like the name implies, Invisimatte. So when you blot and then you touch up your face with this, your makeup is going to look fresh, like you just got done doing it. It's magical. I really, really like this. I think it's essential if you are going out, maybe I don't know where you're going, but if you're going out, if it's summer, if it's hot, you need this in your life. Since we're here, let's talk about their highlighters really quick. So I have one of their Kilowatt highlighters here. This one is too dark for me. I never actually ended up ordering a lighter shade because I just now started getting into a lighter glow. I was so obsessed with their Trophy Wife highlighter, and that was intense. Now I'm like not really about that life right now anymore, but their highlighters, at least the ones that come in these duos, they're very natural. So if you're into like a really light sheen, you will really like these. There's not a ton of glitter in them. They're super smooth. I think this color would actually make for a really good eyeshadow as well. Really beautiful colors. Again, I feel like if you have tanner, darker skin tone, these would be a really beautiful shade on you. Now we are moving into lip products. So they don't really have a ton of new lip products from the last time I did my One Bird tutorial, but I'm still going to talk about these because I do like them. These are their Stunna lip paints. I think these are great. They do last a while, but you can see with some of the bold colors, you do get that line in here, like that butthole lip, which not super attractive, but don't layer these. You don't need more than one layer. That's all you need. They do feel comfortable. They're not super drying. I just wish the packaging was a little bit different. I wish the applicator kind of was a little bit more pointy so you could like really shape your lips, because the formula on these do run a little bit. So if you're not using lip liner, it is going to kind of smear. So I recommend using like a little flat concealer brush to clean it up and just making it look really clean and seamless. That's what I did today. Overall, I do really like these colors. I think they're beautiful for summer, definitely bold. If the packaging was different, I would definitely rate these a 10 out of 10. And the shade Unbutton in here is one of my all-time favorite nudes. It is so perfect. It's like that peachy, pinky nude. It's not too nude, but it looks really good with like any brown lip liner, a pink lip liner. It is absolutely stunning. So I'm a big fan of this. I was actually gonna wear this today, but I was like, okay, fine, I'll do a bold lip color, whatever. And I can't talk about Fenty without talking about their gloss bombs. Their gloss bombs are the bomb diggity. My favorite lip gloss of life. I love everything about these. I love the colors. I love the formula. I love how they're not sticky. They really give you like that glass-like wet, juicy finish to the lips. I think these are beautiful on their own or topped over your favorite lip liner, lipstick, liquid lipstick. They are absolutely stunning. And I feel like everybody can rock these. The colors are going to be universal for everybody. You can really make any shade work because they are a very sheer wash of color on the lips. So what you see in here is not necessarily what you're going to get. Like for instance, the brown in here, hot chocolate, it looks like a brown lip gloss, but then when you actually apply it, it is so light and wearable and it looks beautiful. If you have been watching my videos and you've been watching me for a while and you still haven't gotten these, I don't know what to tell you except go get them. Last but not least, let's talk about their What It Do refreshing spray. So I have some thoughts. I've been testing this out and I'm like, okay, how do I feel about this? Okay, so the mist is so fine. It's like really, really light. It's nice. It smells good. I usually don't love sprays like this personally. I want something that's a little bit more aggressive just because I want it to feel like it's actually coating my face, but I guess that's kind of the point. Like it's meant to be really light, really fine. My issue with this is that it doesn't really give me much of a dew. It feels really good on the skin when you apply it, but it doesn't really give you like a natural dew or anything. Like I haven't noticed anything on my face changing, like the finish of my makeup or anything. I don't really see anything being prolonged or anything like that with my makeup. It's just kind of one of those refreshing sprays. My favorite dewy setting spray that's high end is from Anastasia. Their dewy set spray is incredible. The spritzer is really nice, makes your makeup last, and it gives you a very natural dew. This, like I said, it feels good. I just don't really see much on my face. It just feels refreshing. It feels good on the skin, but it's not doing anything for my makeup or my skin. So for that reason, I'm out. No, just kidding. But no, seriously, for that reason, I don't really like the spray that much. I'll keep using it just because I have it, but it's definitely not something that I would repurchase. All right, you guys, so that is it for this best and worst of Fenty video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was a little bit helpful if you guys have been looking into this brand. Even though there are some things in here that I'm not obsessed with, I still love the brand as a whole. I feel like it's kind of bound to happen. Makeup is so like hit or miss. It's like trial and error. So there's some things that I might like that you might hate that I might like, and that's just the beauty of makeup. Everything works differently for everybody, but I still, like I said, I love the brand. It's definitely one of my top favorites because even though there's products in here that I don't love, the products that I do love, I'm obsessed with them because they're so good. The quality is on point, and I just love the brand as a whole because they are so inclusive and I like what they stand by. And also let me know if there's any favorites from Fenty that I didn't mention today that you love. I would love to hear. And that is it for today's video. Next up, we're going to be doing Shop Missy, so stay tuned for that one brand tutorial. I do have an entire dedicated playlist to one brand tutorials. If you guys want to check that out, I will link it down below. Thank you guys for everything. I love you all, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.